Hi, this is Jeffrey Forrest. Today we are going to talk about uh, an ideal format of quality research papers. Now, first let's talk about, let's look at the warning here first, because any discussion on such a topic has its limitation, because whoever talks about this issue, he or she is always limited by his own knowledge and experience. And our discussion is based on my own experience acquired through years since 1985. And during this time period, I have published extensively in many areas of knowledge, including the following areas such as economics, data analysis, finance, history, management, mathematics, meteorology, philosophy, physics, sociology, systems research, and others. Now, when I communicate with some colleagues I met the first time, when they learned such fact, they always feel this is impossible. Yeah. But if you understand my background, you see this is very doable. The reason is, by training, I'm a mathematician, so my goal in my career is introducing, constructing new tools for learning. So when I introduce new tools or I published an older tool for new use, I tend to first establish it theoretically and then try to find as many applications as possible. And that explains partially why my work has covered so many different disciplines. Now, according to Thomson Reuters, my work is the 6th most cited in the area of engineering in the world in 2013. Now, if you're interested, please just click on the link below and see further details for yourself. Now, let's talk about quality and publication and what is the connection between the two variables. Now, first, one thing I like to make it clear, that is, when a paper is of good quality, it will be published somewhere, somehow, although not necessarily in a so-called highly recognized journal. And here, there are a lot of details, technical details on how to get a piece of paper or work published, preferably free of any charge. And in my careers, I published about two papers, and unfortunately, I have to pay a fee. Yeah, but most other papers are published free of charge, and quite a good number of them were published with an honorarium paid to me. So that's most ideal case. Now, we will come back to these issues later on. Now, first, what do we mean by quality, right? Because in different people's eyes, quality is defined and measured differently. All right. Now here, I will define quality in a way I learned throughout my careers, and I learned from reading many, many books and commentaries and talking to many colleagues. Now, generally, when a paper discusses an issue that is important to at least some people, the paper will be read and cited. That's for sure. Now, when a paper addresses one of the vital problems facing the very survival of the mankind, then the work will be long-lasting and will be cited sooner or later, maybe not immediately. For instance, here, Euclidean geometry and calculus are examples of such theories, which have lasted a long, long time. Now, what's interesting here is geometry. Euclidean geometry has been well studied, at least by children, until quite recent times. And then some scholars came along and feel, something needs to be modified. We need to derive calculus from very beginning axioms using a different approach from the approach Euclid used to take. Okay, so in this case, after we axiomize geometry, what happens is some people start to think geometry as a subject matter is no longer needed for high school students. So from here, you can tell what is going on. So basically, all we are saying is quality changes. The definition of quality changes over time. Now, for instance, let's look at one example of importance to at least some people. What do you mean by that? Now, for instance, in 1991, my colleague and I published a paper entitled A Mathematical Proof of the Definition of Science of Science. And this paper is published in 1991, but in 2015, this paper is #1 most read paper among all papers ever published in this journal, called Cybernetics, the International Journal of Cybernetics Systems and Management Science. And this journal has been in existence 45 years ago. Now, why this paper seems to be important to some people? Because when scientific research becomes very important and people start to realize such research is important, people start to think, can we manage the scientific research in a way like we manage a business? So people start to see, okay, if that's possible, let's study such a thing called the science of all sciences. That's basically the motivation for the study of science to begin. So in this paper, basically, we try to prove such idea is possible to work on, but such science of sciences can, in theory, never exist. So this is the conclusion of the work. Now, what do we mean by a paper is of the highest quality? Now, by that, we mean if the paper is readable by as many people as possible. The paper coincides with the people's intuition. By that, I mean methods, conclusions produced in the paper have to be coincide or agree with people's intuition. And the paper somehow have to possess certain kind of beauty. And not only that, the beauty need to be easily felt by people. And the most important is this: the results established in the paper has to be capable of producing meaningful results and insights that excite the public. Let's look at the examples. Once again, let's go back to Euclidean geometry and calculus. Both of these theories satisfy all these conditions. And that actually explains why these works have been long-lasting. Now, to this end, in the future discussions, we may come back to this topic further and try to explore what's the secret behind the success of calculus. Okay. Now, once again, continue our discussion Einstein's relativity theory also satisfies these four conditions. Here, it satisfies conditions 1, 2 implicitly, and conditions 3 and 4 explicitly. Now, let's go back to one topic we mentioned earlier. That is, publish in highly recognized journals. Now, publishing in highly ranked journals is very important if one wants to get instant recognition. Now, what do I mean by this? If we want to get recognition and we can get a promotion quickly, then this is surely the route to go. And also, if we want to get funded research or research funded by some agencies, then we need to more or less publish something in recognized journals. Now, however, many of the epoch-making works throughout the history have been published in relatively new or unknown journals of their times. And what comes to mind in our modern time will be fuzzy set theory, and then related applications and related theories. This theory was initially published in journals which were new, not very established. But however, because of such paper so well recognized, this journal, initial journal, publishing the initial paper in fuzzy set theory, now become very, very highly regarded. Okay, so here, this is a two-way street. If we publish in highly ranked journals, we may get instant recognition. On the other hand, journals also need to have high-quality papers to establish itself. Okay, so anyhow, personally, instead of wasting life on such pursuit, hoping I can constantly publish in highly ranked journals, what I would rather do is working on issues that could be potentially epoch-making over time. Now, in the following videos, I will dive into more detailed issues about how to write publishable research papers. If you have any comments or questions, please drop me an email, and I will be more than happy to discuss more details, answering your comments in the following videos. Thank you very much.